To you, we are coming live from Kianyaga. This is in Kirinyaga County, and we are at the official residence of the governor, that is Anne Waiguru, the governor of Kirinyaga County, doing her second term. She also is the chairperson of the Council of Governors and winding up her term on the 7th of October, only a couple of days. And there are so many things to discuss in this particular interview, including her successes at the helm of the Council of Governors, as well as what she really is passionate about, and this is women leadership. Remember, tomorrow, Kirinyaga County will be playing host to the G7 Women Caucus. That is the caucus for women governors, who will be here to just see the kind of development that Kirinyaga County has had. And this is an effort to just showcase the kind of positive impact that the women leadership in the counties are having. The third stop here from Homa Bay, the very first stop. Machakos County was the second stop, and now Kirinyaga County. We also will be speaking about issues of politics and what has been ongoing in the country, the political discourse, and getting to get the governor's mind. Governor, thank you very much for joining us on NTV. You're live. Karibu sana.
Asante, thank you for having me.
How was your day? How has the past couple of days and weeks been, especially given that you're hosting G7 tomorrow?
It's a bit hectic. Today was a bit hectic. Last couple of days, the usual, both working at the county and at the council. So busy as it always is.
Busy as it always is. Mm-hmm. And the activities tomorrow are some of the things we will be discussing in this interview, because Kenyans would really want to know how you're heading to, achieve parts or some of the goals that you have as G7. But before we get to that, let's start with the very latest that happened today in the Senate. There was a discussion about the division of revenue bill for the second time this financial year, and there is a proposal to reduce what is going to counties. Initially, there was a mediated position of about 400.1 billion shillings to go to counties. Now there is a proposal to slash that particular budget by 20 billion and have 380 billion. This is even lower than what you received in the previous financial year. And all this is as a result of the rejection of the Finance Act 2024. What is the status of counties currently, financially speaking?
I should say that the status of the counties right now is not very good. As you know, since this financial year started, we hadn't received any releases from the National Treasury. They just released the July exchequer yesterday. So it's almost been 3 months, falling behind about 96 billion or so, but now having reduced that by about 31 billion. Counties have been struggling because these resources are for running governments and for providing service to the people that we serve. And for that to happen, you cannot do that without resources. 14 of the functions that are devolved to county governments are critical services. Healthcare being one of the ones that is the most critical. You need to pay medics and doctors, you need to buy medicine, you need to keep your hospitals running. And the public wouldn't understand why you don't have drugs, even if you haven't received resources for 3 months. Agricultural services as well, providing extension services, farm inputs, those are determined also by seasons. So if you do not have enough time to make sure that you have the inputs on time so that you give the fertilizer on time before the rain start, then it will affect agricultural productivity. Infrastructure development, building of roads also, and critically also for the staff that work for us, going for 2 to 3 months without salaries is very difficult. Some of them have debts in banks for their mortgages and maybe other loans that they have, and you know what happens when you delay repayment. So it's been a difficult 3 months.
Perhaps how many counties are still lagging behind in terms of paying of salaries, the very basic?
All counties, I would say, generally have been lagging behind. I think the ones that have managed to pay must have borrowed 1 or 2 months, but the banks don't allow you to borrow for 3-4 months, you know. They expect you to have repaid before you continue borrowing, because it's usually a short-term borrowing, so it's not something that you can do in the long term. So most counties hadn't paid at least 1 or 2 months. So I don't think there's any county that had paid all the entire 3 months, because where would you get the money to do that? Kirinyaga County is very small. Our wage bill per month is up just over 200 million shillings. But amongst the smallest counties, there are counties that have wage bills of 800 in a month. Where would they get that kind of money to pay? So it's been a difficult time, but we are happy that we've gotten July. It will mitigate the pressure, but it will still require that the National Treasury releases at least for August, because as we speak, September is almost over and we'll be now moving to another month. So we have to find a way of reducing the gap in terms of delayed exchequers.
There was something that has piqued my curiosity there. You've said those that have paid have had to, some take loans from banks. And given that this money is not coming, what impact does it have on the fiscal standings of counties? Because I believe these loans will eventually need to be paid, perhaps with interest. Does it?
Certainly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what happens. You already don't get enough money, and then now you borrow, and you have to pay over and above that. You have to pay interest. But it's a price you pay to make sure that your staff have at least the basic needs to enable them to go to work and to provide the basic services that they can. So, but we all understand it's been a difficult time, not just for counties, but for the country at large.
It's been a difficult time, but we'd also want to get your position on what is going on in terms of the discussion of the Division of Revenue bill. We are seeing a possible reduction, a budget that is going to even be lower than what we had in the previous financial year, that is 2023-2024, if what came from the National Assembly to the Senate today takes place. I do not believe then that any budget should go lower than what it was in the previous financial year. What is the take of the Council of Governors, and what is the take of the Chair in what is about to happen in the monies allocated to counties?
This is a decision that has already been taken by the Council of Governors, and we rejected that proposal in totality. And we made that clear to the National Treasury. We've made it clear to Parliament as well, because, first of all, you cannot reduce below that which we had last year, because you already have certain commitments. You cannot wake up and reduce people's salaries, for example. The law doesn't even allow you. Inflation increases every year. So if you were buying something for 5 shillings last year, you're likely to buy it for 5 shillings and 10 cents this year. So it's not possible that we can accept a reduction below that which we had last year. We also are not accepting any reduction at all from that which was the mediated agreement of 400. The reason being that the law is also clear that in the event that there is a shortfall, whether it's occasioned by the finance bill or whether it's occasioned by them not being able to collect revenue, the law is clear that that shortfall will be borne by the national government. And they did that because they knew that the counties only receive a very small fraction of the total revenues that the country receives. I mean, right now we are at just over 15%. We would have expected to be heading towards 28% in the 12th year after devolution. But here we are just at 15%, which is set as a floor, in the Constitution and the law. It's not meant to be that's what we get. It says the minimum possible that you can give a county is this. So we're already at a minimum with the 400. So to tell us to go again to 380, that was really, really not acceptable to the counties, and the Council of Governors took a position that we will not accept it.
Have you tried discussions with the national government, the president, who, heads the government?
Well, this conversation happens with the Treasury, happens at the IBEC, which is chaired by the Deputy President, and also now happens with the Senate, because we have the Finance Committee of the Senate, and we have presented our views to the three. the president is not directly involved at this point in time. You go to the president if you need to lobby, but technically the decisions are made by the institutions that are mandated to make that decision, and right now it squarely falls at the Senate.
It's time to lobby right now. It's going for mediation. The president will clearly bring in some political goodwill if these monies were not to be reduced.
Well, I'm sure he will hear about it, and if need be, we will reach out to him, but the decision will be between the two houses of Parliament, the Senate and the National Assembly in the mediation committee. They are given the responsibility to make that decision.
Final question is, so what is there any hope for Kenyans, for those who expect devolution to serve them, given that we are speaking about the disbursement for July today? So what hope is there? As the Council of Governors Chair, what would you say?
I think we can never lose hope. We must always maintain hope. The country is going through a very difficult time. This has been unique one last year, and especially now with the stoppage of the finance bill, and I think everybody understands that we're in a unique situation because of that, but that cannot make us lose hope. I think what it does is that it requires leadership to put in a little bit more effort to diversify their sources of revenue, to come up with new measures to mitigate and expand the fiscal space. And there are options to do that. That is why people are given jobs. The Minister for the National Treasury, Minister of Finance, has to dig deep and come up with solutions. That is the responsibility that he has. Him and his team in the National Treasury apply all the policies that they know, learn from other countries that have gone through similar difficult situations, and find a solution for this country where we are not just barely scratching the surface. A solution beyond barely scratching the surface. And that's the best point to take our first break, because when we come back, we're delving deeper into all the conversation that matter. That also was a very important conversation. But we are coming live to you from Kirinyaga. This is in Kirinyaga County, the governor's residence, and we have the Council of Governors Chairperson Anne Waiguru, who also serves as the governor of Kirinyaga County. We will be speaking about several other issues that are of importance to the country. Don't go too far.
Try the new Dunked All-Star Box for only 8.90 Kenyan shillings. Hope you're ready for the new star of the show. KFC, it's finger-licking good while stocks last.
Avieta imerahisishwa. Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza Avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Why I'm excited about this training is because we have the right people in the room. We have people who have the information. We also have people who have the right tools. The tools like online, they have influence. They can be able to define the domains of change. And with this, it means that the conversation will not go down. It will be scaled to heights and will be able to reach many people.
Introducing Festive Cakes.
We have some delightful snacks for all of you.
The Festive Simbella Cake. Indulge in the pleasure of a cone-shaped cake that's bursting with flavors.
Where did you come from?
Come with me. So this is where the magic happens. This is for you kids.
Festive Cupcakes.
Thank you.
Perfect treat to share with friends and family.
Now for your kids' school snacks, hakuna stress.
Festive Drink Cakes. The perfect blend of sweetness and softness.
And now this is for you, Dad, and your office mate.
Festive Pound Cake. This sumptuous cake will leave you craving for more. Taste the magic with our Festive Cakes from DPL Festive Bakery. Delight with every bite.
call backlash, especially when you're talking about GBV. People trying to use other facts that are not true against you. Others is to go and look for your dark past. So people will want to discredit your work. After you have done the mapping of your risks, ask yourself, what can I handle? How will I mitigate my risks? You can mitigate your risks by then thinking, who are my allies? Who are the other people that I can use so that I will achieve my cause?
Welcome to the world of casino games on 1xBet. Discover the wide variety of exciting slot games for every taste. Take your chances and let the luck be on your side. Slot games on 1xBet. Where fortune awaits.
Kote nchini mbele tuendelee, mbele Kenya twende mbele,
Kenya twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Welcome to the world of casino games on 1xBet. Discover the wide variety of exciting slot games for every taste. Take your chances and let the luck be on your side. Slot games on 1xBet, where fortune awaits.
The Magical Kenya Travel Expo 2024 takes place from 2nd to 4th October at the Uhuru Gardens, Nairobi. This year, we have over 300 exhibitors, over 160 buyers, and over 4,000 delegates attending. We have industry topical seminar sessions with industry and academic experts and an exclusive chill-out village with food, drink, and entertainment open to the general public from 3rd October to 4th October. Explore, connect, discover our magical Kenya. Register now to be part of MKTE 2024. www.mkte.co.ke.
Welcome back. You're watching NTV. My name is Ibrahim Karanja, and we continue with the discussion with Governor Anne Waiguru, the governor of Kirinyaga County, as well as the chairperson of the Council of Governors. She will be winding up her term, her second term at the Council of Governors next month. That is on the 7th day of October 2024. And Governor, let's speak about that. And you have led the council for 2 years now, 2 terms, and there are successes that you can mention. For instance, one that I know is that before this cash crunch that we have right now, we've seen this being the first time that counties were getting their disbursement on time. Aside from that, what else would you say is your biggest success as a chairperson of the Council of Governors?
I think one of my biggest successes is the increase in resources to the counties. I came in when they were receiving 370 billion shillings, and now we are at 400, now not considering the issues that have been raised with the finance bill. We have also managed, during my tenure, have increased the resources to counties on conditional grants by 137%. Many programs that are funded by development partners have been secured. We have the Kenya Urban Support Program, which supports work at the counties with regard to our urban areas. We've gotten about 71 municipalities and 1 municipality turning to a city, which is Eldoret. We have money under Kenya Devolution Support Program, which usually focuses on building the capacity of counties on financial management, good governance and accountability, and we got resources as well for that. We have resources for climate change programs, training and support the lowest level possible for resilience building, adaptation and mitigation, and supporting counties to pass the necessary laws and to have programs in place. And we have a major agricultural program, NAP-CDP, and another one, SRP, that have also again funded to the tune of 19 billion shillings to counties for the next 3 years. I think in terms of financial resources, that's one of my greatest achievements. The second achievement, I would say, is that for a long time we have been talking about the national government or the ministries of the national government holding on to functions that belong to counties. And every time we had this conversation, including at the summit, the reasoning would be because no one was quite sure which are those specific functions. And we've now managed to unbundle all those functions. They are waiting the ratification at the summit level and gazettement, and we hope then after that they will be transferred.
We are late in terms of that particular front. I remember last year there was even a commitment by the president that will have all functions that need to be devolved by last year.
Yeah.
What is it that has taken this long?
The process has been quite lengthy, the unbundling of those specific functions, because some of them were sort of concurrent, and to agree which are the functions that are supposed to be at the counties, which ones are supposed to be at the national level, and then costing of those functions, to say the budget for this particular function is this much money, so when you move it, you need to move it with the resources that are in this ministerial department to the county level. So that has taken a long time. And also there's been a process that has been concurrent on asset and liabilities of the counties as well, and also assets and liabilities that were held at the national level that needed to move to the counties. So it was not as simple as that, but the process is done. It was done in collaboration with the Intergovernmental Relations and Technical Committee, and together with COG and their respective ministries. And it's not one ministry, so cutting across various ministries and other state corporations and semi-autonomous agencies, it was a bit complicated, but it's done now. So that is another achievement. Yeah,
that's another achievement. It's still in that line, very briefly, perhaps even as we move the discussion forward, we asked our viewers to send us questions, and a question that stood out was about wastage, or presumed wastage by county governments. In fact, I want to read to you a question that came as was sent verbatim. In a season of supposed austerity, albeit in word alone and seldom in deed, what is the COG doing, formally or collaboratively, to ensure the wanton wastage of resources in the county governments are handled? In fact, they use an example, lately billions spent on benchmarking and luxuries, county admins living beyond their means, like a lady governor who was recently fingered for a loan-free 600 million investment. How do you make sure this is brought under control?
I think, first of all, I think it's important that we usually separate the facts from generalities. The issue of wastage cuts across both levels of government. It is not just a preserve of county governments. And where the county governments have that issue, we have secured support of the Council of Governors and the Secretariat to continuously build the capacity those counties to understand and learn and appreciate the importance of good governance. One of the things that we're doing even under the G7 now, this moving from one county to another to see what other counties are doing better than you are doing, and then learning from that, peer-to-peer learning is helping counties. And the other institutions that are meant to look into those matters are also playing their role, their accountability institutions. So other than capacity building and emphasizing on the regulations, adherence to the rules of good governance and transparency and accountability, and ensuring also that we are taking measures to curb any wastage in the counties is a priority at the county level. And the Council of Governors, together with our partners, both at national and development partners, have been working to ensure that there are rules and regulations and capacity building to that effect, and then monitoring and evaluating and then holding each other accountable. I think it's a step at a time. However, some of the issues can be misconstrued if you just look at them at the face value.
Thank you very much, Governor. Let's take this conversation forward. And we are heading closer to the G7. I really want us to head there and sort of wind this conversation up from there. But you are a politician. You're holding a political office. And there is a huge political discourse going on in the country right now. In fact, you'd think we are campaigning for elections already. What is your take on what is happening in the country? The political heat?
I think my take is it's unfortunate that we're here. In my view, we should be in a season where we are focusing on harnessing all our resources to deliver to the public on the promises that we gave during the campaign. 2 years have now passed. We have only 3 years left, and considering that the last year will be spent on campaigns, you can just say it's possibly 2 years. So I've been on record saying that this is really not the time for politics. This is the time to work. But unfortunately, we are, as a society, very leaning towards political issues at this point in time. And the only thing we can say is that I would urge every leader that we have a very short time. But it's not unusual when you are midterm through politics or political season to have this kind of conversations happening. That is expected. What we need to do is ensure that the noise does not distract us from service delivery. And sometimes you'll think because there's politics that work is not going on, but the counties continue to run, the government continues to run. It may hamper the speed, cause us to move a little bit slower. Maybe certain decisions will not be as effective because they may not be given priority. But by and large, I think as political leaders, we need to work together to bring down the political temperatures, bring down the noise and the rhetoric, and then focus on delivering on whatever promises that we give, especially for us who are elected at the executive level.
You've been on record saying this is not a political season, but you've also been on record on another thing. Recently you said words to suggest usitupeleke kwa upinzani. Don't take us to the opposition. This was here in Kirinyaga as well as in Murang'a. Who are these words directed to?
Whoever would want to take us to the opposition.
It's because it's you who said it, and yes, we're speaking about political noise, so one would say, does that also add to the noise? And there must be a target, certainly. You
That's
are
a statement. That is not noise. I mean, there's a difference. We're talking now. Is this noise? You know? So you have to address the things that are happening at that time. That doesn't necessarily mean it's political noise. It's a statement that we have said and urging our people that please be very careful because when time comes, we will need to make a decision. And you don't start talking to people at the time when now we are going to the ballot. People need to understand the repercussions of the decisions that they're making. And since there were certain suggestions that certain alignments might start cropping up, we were clear to just remind our people that the reason we are able to serve you, if you remember carefully, when I raised the issue here in Kirinyaga, I was in the process of delivering certain services and water projects at the local level, and I mentioned that we've managed to build 18 markets, for example, and we have gotten an extra 7, and then we have been promised another 4 by the national government, and that can only happen when you're aligned to government. And I said, if we want to continue
by aligned to government, sorry for cutting you short, by aligned to government, what do you mean?
Just that, because they're given at the discretion of the national government.
That's not how it should be.
It is done at the discretion. I'll give you an example. You have resources. You make decisions where to allocate those resources. The resources are not distributed completely equally in every county. For example, yes. I mean, why are you looking startled?
Resources should be or ought to be distributed equally and fairly.
Regardless
of
fairly
whether you're aligned to
does
government
not
or
necessarily mean equally. The resources are never enough to be divided exactly equally in all areas. For example, I don't receive the same amount of money as Nairobi County or Nakuru County or Murang'a County. I receive only 5 billion shillings in Kirinyaga County. Murang'a receives possibly in excess of 7. And you will find Kiambu will receive in excess of 10. Is that equal? So resources are allocated based on a formula, for example. Now, when national government has resources and they have to identify places where they can implement those projects, you may have 1 billion shillings. It can only build, let's say, 20 dams, but we have 47 counties. You have to choose those 20 dams. And a lot of that means that you have to lobby, you have to make decisions, and those decisions are not done by drawing a piece of paper from a hat. And that is why even those who are in opposition seek to get into government.
So there has to be political alignment from what I'm getting, and that's why...
There are benefits of being in government. It's a fact.
So who is this that is risking the region, taking it out of government? Let me ask point blank, why are you referring to the Deputy President?
I will not comment about that because my statement was to whoever. The people who are discussing what our future looks like is not limited to one person, but if he was intending to take us to another place, then it applies to him. We say that whoever the shoe fits, then they wear it. So whoever is thinking that they can actually persuade the region to move away from the government, the people need to understand the reason we are in government, and a government that we fought very hard to get.
We saw in Machakos County, you're doing your second term as governor, and there were very hopeful or good proposals from colleague leaders, Charity Ngilu, and even challenging you to take up the national level positions. We have seen recently from this particular region, because we cannot take away the fact that you're a leader here, leaders coalescing around individuals and saying this is the person who represents our interests. And I would say even the call that was given to you from Machakos would be to position you there, and also fits as part of the objectives on G7. So what is your take on the leaders coalescing around certain individuals and saying that this is a person speaking for us and not a certain person?
I think it's a democratic right. Everyone is entitled to choose whoever they think should represent them better.
Would you angle for the deputy president or even the president's position in 27?
I have always said this. that if you have no ambition, you have no business being in politics. I have ambitions. The time will come for those ambitions. And the other thing I can say is that there is no position that you go for called deputy president. You know, it's not advertised, and there is not a position in the ballot called deputy president. There's a position of the president, and what happens is that then the president chooses a running mate, and in his choosing the running mate, he chooses whoever he thinks that he can work well with. So as a political leader, it's up to you to position yourself, and be in a place where you want to carry out the role that you want to carry out.
G7 says, and this is quoting from the document, the strategy by G7, that it is the desire of, to read verbatim, women governors are desirous of playing politics at Tier 1 or Tier 2 in terms of political influence, and have to come together under the G7 caucus to achieve this mission. You'll be hosting these women governors tomorrow. Tier 1, for the benefit of our viewer, means political figures with national influence and appeal. That is the president, the former prime minister, as well as the former president. Tier 2 means political party leaders and regional kingpins. You're finishing your second term. There is this clear plan or clear desire by women leaders and to occupy Tier 1 and 2. So would this be in 2027 for you?
I really actually hope that there shall be a woman in Tier 1 and there shall be women in Tier 2. And I have absolutely no apologies for saying that. I think women can and should position themselves for whatever positions that they want. And nobody's going to come to your house to look for you in your house to give you a position in either Tier 1 or Tier 2. Just like even the men, they were not given those positions in their house. People work for them. They strategize for them. They come together. They build alliances. And that is where women for a very long time have been left behind. Because we would do our little politics and overtrust and not understand the intrigues of politics and the games that are played. And then you go home and the decisions are made at night, and when you wake up in the morning, it's completely different than that which you made yesterday evening. So what we are doing as G7, one is to encourage women to bolden up, to get a platform, to build alliances, to position themselves. Right now we have two of our lady governors as chairs of the two major political parties, both UDA and ODM. That's a step in the right direction. We are hoping that others will come, whether from governors or from members of parliament, to do that. And we also realize that it is very difficult to come from a very low position to that Tier 1, Tier 2. And so what we are doing is ensuring that we are broadening and securing and safeguarding the space that we have. Right now we have 7 women governors. We hope that they go to 16 and 24. And with that, then you have a broader space or a broader choice of women who can then say out of this maybe 3 or 4 will run for Tier 1 in future, or maybe go for Tier 2. And I really hope that that happens, that one day we will see a country where we have 2 or 3 women as presidential candidates.
Governor, we are sitting at the foot of the mountain. The Mount Kenya is just a few kilometers from here.
Yeah.
What is the mood of the people here in terms of the dispensation, the current dispensation that we have, speaking about the entire Kenya Kwanza regime from national level to county governments? What is the mood like? Because we have heard of people say that there are some people who are not comfortable.
The mood of the people is exhausted. They are exhausted by the noise and the politics. They are tired. They want to see service delivery at this point in time. That's the truth. Yeah, if you ask them, they will just say. And if you ask them sometimes questions of politics, they're not interested. People want to know when is water getting to my doorstep? You know, because they don't eat politics. You cannot sit on the table and serve politics, you know, or my views of different positions. Right now, people want to, no, it isn't. It determines many things, but it isn't. It is not for them a way of life. It is maybe for politicians a way of life, but not for the people. The people, they make their decision on the ballot, and they expect to see in the next 5 years that If you promise that there will be resources that are increased in their pockets, that they get that increase in the resources. That if you say that the price of fertilizer comes down, it comes down, which we have done. If you say you're going to build a market, you build a market, That is what they expect. And then now in the next season of politics, which is 5 years from now, 3 years from now, that then they will make a decision on the choices of the leaders that they want. And they also will be expecting that the policies that you promise and the decisions that they made, you will implement them. That is what they want. They don't want every single day when their lives have not changed, that we're talking about the exact same thing about individuals or about positions for a few of us.
My last question on this, so that we get into G7 and finish this. It is also true that there is a conversation that the country has been introduced to, unfortunately, about a possible changing of a deputy president of this country. There is a conversation about an impeachment of a deputy president currently, who has even gone ahead to say that if that happens, then the people will be very unforgiving to President William Ruto. What is your take on all this?
Okay, first of all, we've just said about the impeachment, and I can't say for sure whether it's there or not, because we haven't seen anything yet, right, in Bunge. And having said that, I will say that impeachments are provided under the Constitution of Kenya and law as one of the mechanisms for checking leaders in power. And the Constitution is also very clear that this should be based not just on political rhetoric, but also on the law and facts. And even if I haven't seen the documents, that's really what the Constitution provides. So I cannot comment on whether it is merited or not merited, because I haven't seen the grounds with which the impeachment is proposed. We will wait to see that from the National Assembly and the Senate, who are mandated to carry out that responsibility. But having said that, in the event that happens, I can say that you will be surprised by the reaction of Kenyans, because I saw a poll. There's a significant number of people who just say, we really honestly don't want to know. I mean, you do what you need to do to stabilize your ship if you have to, or just make sure that we get over and done with all the noise. And finally, I should say that the presidency, one of the responsibilities of the presidency is to be a symbol of national unity. And the presidency being both the president and the deputy president. And if that is not happening because of a certain situation, I think then measures would have to be taken to correct that. Because those who are entrusted with that position need to every day, every waking hour, 24/7, ensure that they are holding this country together, and they are a symbol of national unity, and that cannot be an issue that is negotiable.
Is it your view that one of them is not living to it, not being a symbol of national unity?
As I said, it is not in my place, because I'm not the one who is mandated to carry out that role.
You're a leader, you interact with these leaders. Would you support the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua? He comes from your region if it happens.
I have no role.
Or you have an opinion?
I have an opinion, and I will make my opinion, especially when we see the grounds. Yeah.
All right, let's now talk about G7, Governor. Tomorrow you're hosting your colleague governors from here, and there is even a goal from moving from G7 to G16 by 2027, and eventually even having more women in leadership. And many would ask, is being a woman the only card that is being fronted to leadership? What different are we seeing with the current 7 governors that are there as women, and the different other women leaders in the country that would encourage Kenyans and even encourage the world to give women leadership an opportunity?
I will tell you what my colleagues told me when they chose me and gave me the responsibility, which I take with great honor, to be the chair of the Council of Governors. They said, we did not elect you because you're a woman. We elected you because you're a capable leader, which is a very strong statement, coming especially from mostly male-dominated council. And so the G7 is not just about female leadership for the sake of female leadership. What we are doing is that we recognize that we are very far from the constitutional requirement of the 2/3 gender rule. We're only 7 women governors, previously was 3, and if we don't make deliberate efforts to secure the seats that we have and create space for another 16 to 24 women, there is a great possibility that these gains may be reversed. And since we are the ones in that office, some of us have had the privilege to run 2 terms, it's our responsibility to make sure that we secure that space for the next generation of women leaders.
So what are you doing about it?
And not women leaders for the sake of it, but because we understand the importance of gender equality and diversity, and what that does, because it secures, as I said earlier today, gender equality and empowerment is not just a moral cause. It also is, let me say, requisite for economic development. We bring diverse views on the table, diverse opinions and capabilities that are required to move any country forward, to bring progressive democracies, to ensure political stability, and to ensure sustainable development. And you cannot do it with only one gender. So that is one. So what are we doing about it? One of the things that we know that we have to do is to ensure that we break barriers, cultural and systemic barriers. And one of that barrier is that this country predominantly is very patriarchal, and many people in their minds perceive certain positions to be for a certain gender, which is male. And the only way to start changing that, because changing of these cultural viewpoints doesn't take one day, we would have to consistently speak about it, show that women leaders can perform, and that is why we are having these rounds around the G7 counties. They're going to be here tomorrow in Kirinyaga. We start early in the morning at 7. We tour several development projects. I show them the Kiriguguya Hospital. I show them the ones that are under construction, upgrading from level 3 to level 4. We go to the fish market that we've built to socially empower people and provide diversity of incomes in agriculture, and go to see a cooperative that I've worked with in the dairy sector, where we are increasing productivity for our farmers, especially those that produce milk and value addition, and then now go and have a conversation about it. And when we've publicize that and we talk about it, then people can see and can start saying, yes, a woman is just an equal leader like a man. And if you do that, then you start creating a level playing field, so that when a woman in Bungoma or in Turkana or in Kisumu or in Tana River says that they want to stand for governor, the people don't tell him, no, you have your seat, which is the women rep, that governor seat is for the male. That is what we are doing with this G7 moving forward. And if you notice, we just don't invite ourselves. We also invite our male counterparts. We will have some of them there tomorrow. We will also have members of parliament there, so that we can have that conversation of changing the stereotype that we have and the cultural barriers that have been hindering women from achieving their full potential and the country from achieving the 2/3.
Good governance from women seem to be what you're advocating for, yes, from G7. And allow me to bring you to the issue of Meru County. You're speaking about good governance for women. The MCAs of Meru County are feeling that your colleague governor there does not embody good governance, yet the women governors in G7 have come out to defend her. Even I remember in Machako saying, you pray that you do not end up being G6. Do you support Governor Kawera's stay in office because she is part of G7, or is it about, if it's about good governance, have you given a listening ear to the other side of Meru County?
This is what I will say. First of all, it's not in my place to judge any governor, My role as a Council of Governors is to advance the good of the counties and also to stand for and support my colleagues. For as long as Governor Kawira is governor of Kirinyaga County, of Meru County, apologies, beg your pardon, we will support her as a governor until the time that that changes. So it's not my place to say who is right and who is wrong. The institutions have been set very clearly in the law and in the Constitution, and they carry out their course, and they will be determined, and then whatever the decisions come out, we stand by them. We are governed, and I've always said this, I stand and I'm governed by the rule of law.
Final question, Governor. What couple of issues would you stand and say is the achievement of women governors or women in leadership in the country, and use them as a rallying call as to why Kenyans should support women leadership?
The achievements are very many. Every county is unique. Every county has its list of achievements. If you go to Homa Bay, you will see what Governor Wanga has managed to do in 1 year in terms of empowering her people, the work that she's doing along the bay, the building of infrastructure and development, and empowering her people. If you go to Machakos, you will see the investments that are being done in the health sector. If you come here to Kirinyaga, you will see the work that we've done. In fact, my slogan, even when I was running for re-election, was on "Let the work speak for itself," kazi yonge, and in Kikuyu we say "Werawarie," and it did speak. And if you ask people, they'll say, yes, we can see the work. So you can't pinpoint and say this particular one, because the interventions across counties are different, because the needs are also different. But are women governors performing? They are performing very well, just like very many of our male counterparts are also performing. And as I said, our point and our rallying call is to demonstrate that women leaders are as good, if not even better sometimes, than the male counterparts, so that we can start changing the narrative that these positions are a preserve of the males. So that's really it. And we hope that by the time we're done with these 3 years, we will see a lot more women having the boldness to stand and be elected as governors, and we'll increase them to 24, hopefully. We are working and encouraging our second-term male governors to support women candidates, and for the betterment of the society. And again, we hope that many members of parliament will be elected who are women, and many members of the county assemblies will also be elected who are women. And then the country can then start moving away from the aspects of affirmative action, which has been also a complaint in our society, that it can be a burden to society if we do not rectify and ensure that we actually get these people properly elected in office.
Thank you very much. It's starting to get cold. It's like tunagusa murima.
Yeah, we're right at the slopes.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching. That has been that discussion with the governor of Kirinyaga County, Anne Waiguru. She is the chairperson of the Council of Governors, has spoken about her successes, has touched on the G7 as well as what is going on politically, nationally, in terms of, the impeachment of the deputy president and whether it should happen or not, and she says she doesn't have a stake. Right now, I take you back to studio where Dan Mwangi is on standby to continue with the rest of the bulletin from here in Kirinyaga, the governor's residence. We bring this interview to a close. My name is Ibrahim Karanja. Thank you for watching.
Very much, Ibrahim Karanja, who has been coming to us, as you've heard, from Kirinyaga, with some very interesting anecdotes there from the governor.